What's going on, Cougar fans, and welcome to Geisman Gymnasium as it's game night here on the campus of Concordia University, Chicago, as your CUC Cougars get set to take on the Raiders of the Milwaukee School of Engineering. Peter Borkowski here on the Cougar Sports Network, joined by my good friend Jonathan for tonight's broadcast. Should be a good night of hoops here in Geisman, but Jonathan, let's break down these two teams before we send it to the court for tonight's action. Cougars are struggling a bit as of late, riding a 3-game losing streak, the most recent of which came this past Saturday against Benedictine University right here at CUC, a 59-48 loss at the hands of the Eagles. And Jonathan, Eagles controlled most of that game for CUC, but we did see a good performance out of the senior on this Cougars team, Missouri Wingham.
We did. Wingham, big game last time out, 11 points, 3 assists, and it's a solid performance set. Coming into this game, you're missing your 2 leading scorers, so it's going to be players this team's going to be looking to. Seeing a performance like that against Benedictine, a game where the team struggles, that's something that you can look to as a positive, that maybe that'll carry over in a bigger light this week.
Yeah, those 2 leading scorers Jonathan's referring to, Michaela Ellis and Kalia Reed. Again, the top 2 players on the Cougars in terms of points per game, both out tonight. So CUC, as Jonathan mentioned, they're going to be looking for offense for some other players who might not be putting up the same level of points as those 2 have been all season. But Jonathan, another thing that didn't go in the way of CUC that last game was the turnover battle. CUC just really could not hold on to the ball, and Benedictine really benefited from that.
Absolutely. CUC, 24 turnovers over the game, already a very high number. And Benedictine, they capitalized 20 points off of those turnovers, creating points off of CUC's mishaps, and that's something that CUC is going to have to avoid tonight.
Right, yeah, when you lose by 11 points and you gave up 20 off of turnovers, you do some basic math, you think you clean up a little bit, maybe you get those 11 points back. But in terms of players we do want to highlight for the Cougars, we talked about Missouri Wingham a little bit, but we also should see a big game out of Alexis Desjardins. She's been one of the most consistent players on this Cougars team, and like we said, with 2 of your big scorers out tonight, you're going to need other players like Desjardins to step up.
Yep, Desjardins coming into this game with Ellison Reed out. She's the active leader in scoring and 3-point percentage for this CUC team. And going up against a team like the Raiders, they're a defensive team. They thrive on their defense. So you're going to need to look to your scorers to try and beat that, and that's going to be Desjardins for this Cougars team.
Right, Desjardins is the only active player for the Cougars who's averaging double-digit points. Reed and Ellis are as well, but of course they're out for the night. So Cougars really going to be looking to their 3-point sharpshooter in Desjardins for some offense tonight. But let's talk about the Raiders a little bit, and they struggled in their last game as well, just like the Cougars. They were at Wisconsin Lutheran College this past Saturday and really had a rough outing offensively, a 42-28 loss at the hands of the WLC Warriors. And those offensive struggles are kind of a season-long storyline for these Raiders.
Yeah, this is a team that does not average a lot of points per game. Like we mentioned, they're a defensive team. They hold their opponents to under 50 points on game on average, but they themselves barely averaging over 60 points a game, which coming up against a team like the Cougars, they're a much more offensive team than the Raiders. So you have opposites matching up here tonight as the Raiders struggle to score.
Now, doing a bulk of that scoring on Saturday was Mishima Chalk. She had 10 points as well as a pair of steals. She's really been the offensive leader for this Raiders team all season long. She is top 10 in the NAC in points per game, but the player we want to focus on tonight is one of her counterparts, Hakia Williams. She is, you talked about the defense of this Raiders team. She's really the focal point of that defense.
Yeah, Williams, defensive team, she's top 10 in the NAC in rebounds for this Raiders team, which is huge for a team that needs to just get as many point chances as they can to score.
Right.
And it's something that's also going to help on the defensive glass, picking up the rebounds that CUC misses so that they can't put up more second chance points.
Right. CUC has had a rough go of it lately in terms of converting on field goals. So like Jonathan said, to see a player like Williams being able to gobble up those rebounds, that's going to be key for a Raiders team they're averaging less than 60 points a game this year. So this is a team that they're not going to beat you by scoring 78 points on you. Nope. They're going to beat you by keeping you below that 60-point threshold and just hoping that their offense can get it done. But all time, the Raiders do hold the advantage over the Cougars. Raiders have won 15 of the all-time matchups. Cougars have won just 10, and CUC currently on a 2-game losing streak against this MSOE program. Last year, that last loss came right here in Geisman, so CUC looking for a little home retribution against the Raiders, but we know the team's backgrounds now. Jonathan, let's get to the nitty-gritty of it. What do the Cougars need to do tonight if they want to pull off a win against MSOE, get back in the win column for the first time in nearly a month?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier, Desjardins, big shooter. They're going to be looking to her. I think that's going to be the key to the win tonight is finding a rhythm on offense, using players like Desjardins, Missouri Wingham. Just put up points consistently. And if you can beat MSOE's defense, their offense isn't going to beat your defense.
Right.
So if you can keep putting up those points, you'll be looking pretty good.
Right, and I do want to note that defense, in my key to the game, it's really control the tempo of this game, which starts on the defensive end for the Cougars. If you can create long possessions for both teams, if you can create MSOE to hold on to the ball a while, if the Cougars can hold on to the ball a while, this is going to be a really slow, methodical game where these two teams are just going to kind of slog it out so you can get to that 60-point threshold, which at this rate, the way both teams have been scoring as of late, 60 points should be good enough for you to win tonight's game. So Cougars, like Jonathan said, if they play some strong defense against an MSOE offense that is struggling, they should be able to keep them up below that 60-point mark and hopefully pull away with the win. For, again, the first time in the month, Cougars on a 3-game losing streak. Their last win came right here in Geisman back on December 6th, so they're looking to get back in the win column for the first time in a while. But we're going to see if they're able to do it when we send it courtside. Raiders taking on the Cougars right here in Geisman. Some Wednesday night hoops. We'll have national anthem and starting lineups before game time. But right now, for everyone watching at home, we have a very special message from President of Concordia University Chicago, Dr. Russell Dawn.
Hello, I'm Dr. Russell Dawn, President of Concordia University Chicago. Thank you for tuning in to today's Cougar Athletics broadcast. We take great pride in the strength of both our athletic and academic programs, which are rooted in our steadfast commitment to Jesus Christ. Dedicated to the liberal arts as a foundation of a high-quality college degree, we believe education should form individuals for service to their neighbors. This makes Concordia Chicago an exciting and fulfilling place to study, work, learn, and grow. Learn more today by visiting cuchicago.edu. Thank you, and go Cougars!
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the Cougar Sports Network. Peter Borkowski joined by Jonathan Shear. Jonathan, we got a good game ahead of us. Two teams who, it's going to be a defensive battle tonight between these two squads, both of them having some good defensive performances this year. MSOE, just 50 points allowed per game from their opponents. Meanwhile, the Cougars, they're sitting at 64 points per game, and they win the opening tip as we get set here in Geisman. Missouri Wingham, the senior for the Cougars, brings it up first. She's running point, and she's going to pull up for a jumper. It is no good. Rims out, and MSOE gets a rebound right there. MSOE, their starting lineup, Mahima Chokshi, Nicole Levine, Danny Mendez, Rakia Williams, and Helena Hill. That'll be their starting five to get us underway here, and pulling up for a three, and instead going for the drive is Nicole Levine, and she gets one to go off the glass. MSOE on top 2-0.
That's a big start for MSOE right there. If they can diversify their scoring a bit, get it away from their star Chokshi, then that gives them a better chance of putting up higher numbers than they have the last few times out.
As Cougars, they feed it inside of the freshman Kulig. Her shot no good. Rebound, Allison McGregor. She puts it in for two. Cougars to start out here. They're running McGregor, Kulig, Wingham, along with Leela Scott and number 12, Alexis Desjardins. As MSOE, they get it out to Williams. Williams kicks it over to Helena Hill. Her shot no good. Big board there by Danny Mendez. Here's a three, no good. Rebound, Mendez. And now it was Levine, a bounce pass. They get it out to the top of the key. Levine with it again, over right into the feet of Helena Hill. She dribbles into trouble, and there's a turnover for the Cougars. Leela Scott as well as Alexis Desjardins forcing it. Missouri Wingham now. Top of the key, and Alexis Desjardins thought about a three. Now she puts a spin move, gets inside, kicks it out. Wingham beyond the arc. Now she'll take a drive to the rim. She gets fouled on the floor. And it'll be on number 4 in red, Mahima Chokshi. Chokshi, the leading scorer of this MSOE team at just under 14 points per game. Gets tagged with our first foul of the night as Leela Scott finds Desjardins. Inside pass, and it's picked off by Danny Mendez. That's going to be a no-fly zone right there for MSOE. The Raiders quickly move the other way. Missed layup. Cougars fight for the rebound and get it.
And that right there is going to be huge. We saw it last time out against Benedictine. This CUC time can sometimes struggle to avoid making turnovers, but if MSOE can't capitalize on them, then it's looking pretty good for CUC.
Getting back on defense has been a struggle at points for CUC. Allow quite a few fast break points. As there's another turnover, picking off that pass was Nicole Levine. Now she goes to the rim. She can't get it to go. Rebound, Abby Kulig. As we are still sitting at 2-2, 7.5 to go here in the opening quarter. Now spin move by Desjardins, and she lands the ball right in the hands of Mendez. MSOE, another forced turnover as they come the other way. Bounce pass inside to Williams. She hands it back out to Levine. Now they work it over. Here's Hill from the free throw line. That jumper is good, and MSOE back on top, 4-2.
And you talked about it before the game, CUC team struggling with turnovers against Benedictine, and that's 3 straight offensive possessions right there that the ball's been stolen by the Raiders. And, you know, looking forward, Cougars gonna try and move away from that. Obviously, they won't commit a turnover every possession, but it's not a great start for the Cougars.
Leela Scott thought about a shot, instead uses the screen from Missouri Wingham, cannot get the long two. As the Raiders back on offense. Here is Chokshi. Inside pass. Now it's back out. Here's Williams. Top of the key. It's good. She fouls up Leela Scott's long two miss with a long two make. And now MSOE tripling up the Cougars 6-2. Missouri Wingham. Inside pass, McGregor right there off the rim. The bank is open. The Cougars, they get their first bucket in over 2.5 minutes. They pull back within one possession, 6-4. Chokshi, that pass is blocked, and here goes Leela Scott. It's a 2-on-1. Now Scott slows up, finds Missouri Wingham. That give and go is no good, as picking it off was Chokshi, and wrapping herself around her was Wingham. So that'll be the Cougars their first foul of the night, as we also see our first substitution. Desjardins is out. Coming in is number 55, the sophomore, Sydney Mitchell.
And that's going to be one of your missed opportunities for the Cougars right there. You get a turnover, you get a fast break 2-on-1 opportunity, and then it's another turnover, which has been abundant in these first 4 minutes here for the Cougars.
4 turnovers in 3 minutes and 17 seconds for CUC. Obviously, you can't score points if you can't hold on to the ball. As MSOE now, they got an on-man rush and going up for 2, no good, but getting the foul was Danny Mendez. 2 free throws coming up for number 21 in red. Mendez, a freshman out of Noblesville, Indiana, on the year. She's hitting free throws at a 68% clip. And she gets set for the first gimme of the night. Shot is up and good. Extends MSOE's lead 7-4 now. She gets set for her second free throw, trying to make it 2 for 2. Ball is up and no good. Takes a bad bounce off the inside of the rim. Cougars catch a break. They're still a 1-possession game. Less than 6 minutes to go now in the first. Sydney Mitchell goes to work on Chalk. She uses the screen by McGregor. She decides to take it herself. She hits the side of the backboard. Draws a foul, however. And it is on Chalkshe, so that is her second personal foul. And that might be a storyline to watch as head coach of MSOE, Hannah Trees, pulls Chalkshe. And Jonathan, we talked about how important Chalkshe is to this MSOE team. It's a team that struggles to score, and she's 7th in the conference in points per game at 13.7. But she's already got 2 fouls within 5 minutes of play here. And, you know, when your star player is in foul trouble, that's definitely something a coach, it's going to put them in an uncomfortable position.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how. This is going to be our first opportunity to see how does MSOE run their offense without Chalkshe on the court. I mean, this is a team, you look at their average minutes played for their players, they don't go to their bench too much. Chalkshe's playing more than 35 minutes a game on average, and she's off the court within the first 5 here tonight.
Well, CUC forces a turnover for once, going the opposite direction. Kulik swings it all the way over Princess Gate. She's checked into the game. A hard layup, rebound McGregor, and it's no good. The putback rolling out, ball goes out, last touch on CUC. So MSOE, they'll get a possession here. Ellie McGregor, 4 points already on 3 rebounds. And Jonathan, I get the feeling we're going to see a lot of her tonight. One of the tallest player on this Cougars roster. She's already had a ton of rebound and putback opportunities. If she can continually convert on those, she's in for a big night by the looks of it. Swung over to the corner. Here's Levine. That 3 is good. Nothing but net. Number 10 in red. And that gets MSOE to point number 10. They're up by 4 now. Sydney Mitchell, she slows down the offense, and she'll decide to take it herself. She runs into a quadruple team, has to kick it back out. Kulig now, she stops the dribble, finds Leela Scott, able to corral the ball. Kind of a weird pass. Now Mitchell with it at the top. Slows it down again. She'll pull up a long 3, no good. That one airballs and bounces out. Turnover on the Cougars. And, you know, Jonathan, we talked about that pregame, and it didn't result in a basket, but those are the kind of possessions you want to see out of the CUC team. They took their time, they slowed down the offense, and, again, it didn't result in any points, but you get the feeling if they can keep putting up possessions like that, eventually they're going to wear out this MSOE defense. And bouncing around and not getting any help was Mendez. She's eventually fouled. The foul will go on Kulig for the Cougars. Kulig having herself a really nice freshman season for CUC. She's playing over 15 minutes a game. She's played in every game so far this year for the Cougars. Just her second start, however, as the first shot is up and good on Mendez's trip to the line.
And Kulig, she's one of those two players you'll see mainly in the paint tonight. between her and Allison McGregor. And that's one of those big matchups we were looking to see tonight. How does the rebounding of MSOE go up against the rebounding of CUC? So far, it's been fairly even. That's just going to be something we're going to watch develop throughout the course of this game.
This is a lineup that Coach Martin has liked over time, which is having two of her bigger players in McGregor and Kulig. Again, they're probably the two tallest players on the CUC roster. Having them on the court at the same time, having those two kind of traditional centers there, hopefully they can get a lot of rebounds between the two and a lot of points in the paint as the Cougars, they've wound the shot clock down to 5 seconds, and running into a turnover was Sydney Mitchell. Helena Hill able to grab it. And the ball is in the corner now. Driving to the rim is Williams. Back in the other corner. Here's a three. It's no good. A rebound, Abby Kulig. That three was taken by Skylar Flanagan. And now whistle blows as Coach Martin is going to take a timeout here. As we're still waiting for a sign on the length of the timeout. It will be a 30-second timeout, so we'll keep it here. Jonathan, 3:10 to go here in the first quarter. Cougars, they are trailing 12-6, and really the story's been the lack of field goal production. 2 for 8 so far on the night, shooting 25%. 2 of their points have come from the free throw line. I mean, what are you seeing that the Cougars can maybe improve upon a little to get that field goal number up? Because this is a team, they've been struggling from the field the last couple games. What needs to change against this MSOE defense to maybe get some better open shots, whatever it may be, just get that field goal percentage up?
I think one way you could sort of put what's happening out there is the Cougars' offense is playing the way that MSOE's defense is playing. MSOE's defense is dictating the pace, the style of offense that Concordia is playing right now. They're rushing around the edge. They're trying to force passes inside. I mean, we talked earlier in the game, dictate the pace, don't rush it, find a rhythm on offense. And right now what MSOE is doing is disrupting that, intercepting the passing lanes, forcing bad shots, bad passes. That's what Concordia needs to work against, kind of play your own offense. Don't let MSOE dictate the pace of the game.
This is a tall MSOE team. You look at their 5 starters, 5'6", 5'8", 6 foot, 5'9", 5'10". So this is a lanky MSOE team. And like you said, Jonathan, that just kind of bodes well in their favor of picking passes off to the inside. They can kind of clog the passing lane as the Cougars turn the ball over there. Abby Kulig taking one to the nose as she shakes it off, heads back on defense. Less than 3 minutes to go here in the opening quarter. Raiders taking on Cougars. Thanks for tuning in to the Cougar Sports Network. Raiders trying to tack onto their lead. That one hits the rim. I don't know if Abby Cooley got a piece of it, but good closeout there. Cougars, they finally have Perry. Back to Sydney Mitchell. Mitchell, jab step, throws another one out. Now she dribbles. Matched up against Chloe Kirkshan. And this pass inside, Kulig a little too hot to handle, and she just throws it out of bounds off of Flanagan. Smart play there by the freshman. Ran out of room.
And that right there, Kulig got stuck in that situation that MSOE has been trying to force to the Cougars. Double team, triple team, force a bad play. Kulig right there went against what MSOE had wanted to do, which is pretty much throw the ball right into one of MSOE's players.
Princess Gates, nice move to the rim and gets it to go, gliding through the defense. Princess Gates, she makes her presence known with her first points of the night. Gets the Cougars back within 4. Now they need to stop defensively. And that's going to be a travel on Danny Mendez as she was trying to back into Abby Kulig. Kulig will get rewarded with a rest on the bench. Her first breather of the night, as replacing her is another impact freshman for the CUC squad, Lindley Southern. Bringing it up the near sideline is Mitchell, uses a pair of bodies for a screen. Malia Perry now finds Southern. Southern back to Perry. Perry thought about a 3, instead puts the ball on the court. Princess Gates over to Sydney Mitchell. Mitchell, bounce pass inside to McGregor. She falls on it. Mitchell gets it. Ball is up and good. A broken play for CUC, but Sydney Mitchell makes it work. And CUC, they've cut it down to a 2-point lead. Moving screen and a turnover on MSOE. Getting tagged with it is Kirkjian. Sydney Mitchell ran right into her, but Kirkjian a little too jittery on the screen. And CUC has a chance to tie it or take a lead here.
I mean, call it what you want. Call it momentum, call it rhythm. This is what CUC needed coming out of that timeout, and they found it. 4 quick points, ball in your hand, shot up right there, no good off the front of the rim, but, you know, you've brought this game from 6 to 2 points real quick.
And Malia Perry going for all the marbles, trying to take the lead, and now she dives for the ball, tries to kick it out to Sydney Mitchell, and now we have a tie and jump ball. Possession is favoring MSOE. So the Raiders able to escape a nasty situation. Was looking like a turnover. As here's Flanagan paired up against Sydney Mitchell. Mitchell fights around the screen. Southern switches on to Flanagan. Here's a 3 and a 3, good 3 by Helena Hill. That'll give MSOE some breathing room. 40 seconds to go here in the opening quarter. Malia Perry. Sydney Mitchell sends some players in motion as she uses the McGregor screen. Lindley Southern up top now. She'll drive, try and find McGregor. Ball tipped around and out. Last touch, CUC. So MSOE's persistent defense getting it done again.
What's interesting is MSOE's offense heads down the court again is their offense is working better than it has in past games. And an interesting part of that is that it's not just diversifying it and using other methods than Mahima Chokshi. It's entirely without Mahima Chokshi. Out of the game for more than 5 minutes, they're still putting up points.
Flanagan to beat the clock. She can't. CUC with 1 second, and that'll do it for the first quarter. CUC able to lock up defensively on the final possession of the quarter. They'll only head into the break down by 5. It's been an exciting first quarter here as MSOE, they are take a 15-10 lead into the second quarter. We'll have more action for you in just a minute. Don't go anywhere. Cougar Sports Network will be back in just a second. Some technical difficulties on the Cougar Sports Network. Thank you for everybody for sticking with it as we're 30 seconds into this second quarter. MSOE just extending their lead 17-10. Hugh Barkowski, Jonathan Shear here on the Cougar Sports Network. Some Wednesday night hoops between the Cougars and the Raiders. Cougars trying to find their first bucket of this second quarter. They feed Kulig inside. Kulig decides to go out to Princess Gates. Baseline drive off the rim, no good. Leela Scott, good rebound there. Abby Kulig, she'll go for a tough shot and goes up and draws the foul. So Abby Kulig unable to get anything open, but sometimes that's just a smart play there from an offensive player. Even when you're covered up, if you go up, you're probably going to draw a foul. Abby Kulig does exactly that.
And we've seen that so far tonight. Kulig playing smart right there, taking that shot. That's something the Cougars have to do in general on offense. They have shooting well, but they still can't be afraid to take any kind of shot when they see an opportunity because you need to get points to start falling at some point.
Kulig, she'll get a shot to fall right there. And the Cougars back within 5. Abby Kulig from the free throw line. And Kulig playing very smart tonight. We saw her throw that ball out of bounds off an MSOE player's leg, and it's a very smart player in her first year of the college game, but negating any momentum CUC got was not Danny Mendez, that was Helena Hill. Another 3 ball, and As we take a timeout here, Jonathan, that's something that you pointed out to me in between the quarters was the three-point shooting is very uncharacteristic for both of these teams tonight.
Yeah, CUC, compared to MSOE coming in this game, they're the shooters. Their field goal percentage is fairly equal, but they hit more three-pointers. They put up more points on the regular. MSOE averaging 25% from the three-point line. In general, putting up low numbers, but so far tonight, 3 for 5 from three. Helena Hill putting up 2 of those. That's a big contributor to the 8-point deficit you have for the Cougars right now, and it's a big part of why this MSOE offense is clicking a lot better than it usually does.
Right. CUC, meanwhile, they're 0 for 3 from beyond the arc, and this is a team that they kind of ride or die by the three-pointer, and I know you can really say that about any team, but this CUC team in particular, like when those threes are going in, you know it's going to be a good night to wear maroon and gold, and then when they're not going in, you kind of know what's going to happen to them in terms of the opponent getting the upper hand. The field goal percentage in general is just heavily favoring MSOE right now. They're 7 for 14 from the field, 50%. CUC 5 for 15. That's at 33. For comparison, MSOE on the year only shooting 37% from the field. So a 13% uptick so far through about 11 and a half minutes of play as Alexis Desjardins, she's one of the Cougars' big three-point shooters. Maybe she's the solution to that 0 for 3 start from beyond the arc. Princess Gates tries to give the Cougars their first three. She does. Off the backboard. And just as we're talking about it, Princess Gates says, I'll give you guys the first three of the night. CUC back within 5. Here's a 3 in response. It's no good. Rebound, Allie McGregor.
And that's huge for the Cougars right there. You mentioned it during the break. One of the things CUC is struggling with, their shots just aren't falling right now. You need to get the ball to go in the basket to put up points, and that right there is huge. Any way you get it, off the backboard, off the rim, straight in the net. Points are good.
Princess Gates coming alive here. 5 points in the last 2 possessions for number 10 in gold. She's always one of the first players off the bench for Coach Lauren Martin, and she's proving why right here in the second. Running through Abby Kulig was Danny Mendez, and the foul will go on Kulig, taking a block, and that'll send Mendez to the line. Danny Mendez, this is already her 3rd trip to the free throw line, 3 for 4 so far tonight, and I'm a big proponent of, getting to the line is a skill in itself. Some players say, oh, it's a little cheap. This guy or girl uses the free throw line, but it takes a real talent to be able to consistently go to the free throw line, draw contact, and these are free points for the other team.
And part of that is that confidence, being willing to just go up. Like you mentioned earlier, you go up in traffic, you'll probably get hit, you'll probably draw a foul. And then Mendez clearly showing she's brave enough to do that, and she knows when to do that, what paths to take. 2 of those fouls she's drawn were committed by Kulig so far, and Kulig has headed to the bench for the first time tonight with her 2nd foul.
Kulig, one of the starters for CUC. She's played a bulk of the minutes here. And now she'll have to take a breather as Coach Lauren Martin checks in. Amaya Martin as bounce pass inside to Allie McGregor, and she just gets it ripped away by Rakia Williams. They call it jump ball. Possession favoring the Raiders. Rakia Williams with the strip right there. And now MSOE has a chance to increase their 4-point lead. They find Hill. Hill runs into 2 players and turns it over. Here's Alexis Desjardins. Sydney Mitchell now. Mitchell puts on the brakes. Desjardins, a 3. It is no good. Desjardins looking for her first 3 and points of the night in general. And Sydney Mitchell, I think she was looking for Maya Martin on a pass. She hits the ground hard. Foul tagged on number 14, Ellie Cole. First time we've called her name tonight. Freshman out of Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. And Alexis Desjardins on the baseline will inbound it. Desjardins finds Mitchell. Mitchell back to Desjardins. Now whistle blows. Foul on Number 23, the ref called. That's for Kia Williams, but it was Helena Hill on defense. So see who that foul actually falls on. Now here's Desjardins. She gets tangled up and loses it to Rakia Williams. Williams now sprinting the other way. Williams, a defensive anchor, but she turns it over offensively. Cougars now, as Sydney Mitchell bobbles it, able to gather it. Here's Princess Gates back to Mitchell. Mitchell, methodical, finds Desjardins for 3. It's good! You find Alexis Desjardins on an open shot. She's going to hit that 90% of the time, and she pulls the Cougars within 1. Princess Gates caught up on the screen, but it's an illegal screen. Danny Mendez moving her feet just a little too much. Second time we've seen the Raiders hit with that tonight. Their screen execution just not going super smoothly so far.
When you go back to that Desjardins 3, bringing it to just a 1-point game, the closest margin it's been since that 2-2 tie early on, that's what the Cougars need to do. Find those openings, create the shots, and then Desjardins hitting it right in rhythm right off the bat. That's what you've got to do. Take those shots when you get them. Be confident with the ball.
Maya Martin glides to the rim, a little too strong off the backboard. MSOE coming the other way. Cougars get back and set on defense. Inside pass to Ella Menson. She finds Levine, who pulls up. She had players draped all over her. Ball still loose. Williams is right there. And easy layup right there from Menson. No easier shot in basketball. And that's because there were about 2 or 3 bodies on the ground at the free throw line. Here comes Mitchell. Goes up against Ellie Cole. That ball is tipped, but Amaya Martin grabs it. Martin back to Mitchell. Mitchell now trying to put the moves on Cole. Cross court. Here's a 3 from Desjardins. It's good! Feed number 12 is the game plan right now. She's got the sriracha sauce, and the Cougars have tied it up 23-23.
That's the rhythm that the Cougars needed, specifically from Alexis Desjardins. 2 for 2 on her last 2 shots, 2 for 3 overall on the night. Big offensive momentum right there.
Cougars thought they got a little bit more momentum with an Amaya Martin steal, but the referees tag her with a foul. Cougars' second of the quarter. Amaya Martin's first of the night. And MSOE trying to find an answer on offense. Flanagan over to Nina Pearl. She gives it to Menson. Here's Flanagan again. He uses a screen. Ball stripped away. Ball on the ground now. Everybody tangled up for it. Jump ball possession, CUC. And great hustle there from Sydney Mitchell. Flanagan was on the ground. She just jumped on top of her to tie that ball up.
That's something that Mitchell's done since she got put in his game early on, is bring a hustle to the court for Cougars, just rushing around whenever there's a loose ball, which there has been a lot of tonight.
She is a spark plug player in its purest definition. Amaya Martin grabs the rebound and puts up the tough shot, falling backwards. Everything has fallen for CUC right now. MSOE, they need a bucket bad as they've seen their lead turn into a 2-point deficit. 4:03 to go in the second. Levine uses a screen. She runs into Princess Gates, now spinning around, trying to find an option. Princess Gates locking her up, and stepping out of bounds was Chloe Kirkjian. And how about the defense there for Princess Gates? So I'm going to wrap around you like a blanket. You're going to have no air to breathe, and that eventually causes a turnover in favor of the Cougars.
And the Cougars kind of completely flipping the script of this game. It was the Raiders controlling the defensive and offensive pace of this game. Now it's the Cougars who seem to be controlling that, disrupting MSOE's offensive game plan, putting up a bunch of shots on offense.
That one, however, doesn't go. A little off-balance shot from Sydney Mitchell. Maybe not the one the Cougars wanted. MSOE now has a chance to tie it or take the lead. Levine, she's going to go for the tie, pulls up, floater, it's good. Nice move there from Nicole Levine. Little stutter step at the three-point line, then cuts inside. And now the Cougars playing in a tied game once again, 25 all. Alexis Desjardins Dribbles in. McGregor, Princess Gates, 4-3, no good. Rebound bopped around, last touch off of Desjardins. As Helena Hill, swapping places last second on us. Nina Pearl will get set to inbound it. Maya Martin takes a well-deserved rest on the bench. She came in and had some immediate impact minutes for CUC. And Martin isn't a player that we typically see a lot of for this Cougars team, playing in just 3 minutes a game. But Jonathan, she got the call here tonight with a shorthanded Cougars team as MSOE takes the lead back. But Martin got the call here, and like you said, she's one of those players that Coach Martin needed to step up, and she did so fully in her minutes she's played so far.
Yeah, you're going to see more of that throughout this game with both Collier Reed and
Michaela Ellis out for injury reasons. And here's Sydney Mitchell getting the offense set. Cougars are down by 2 again. Mitchell, inside bounce pass. It's knocked away, but McGregor rebounds it herself. Baseline J, it's no good. One of the toughest shots in basketball. Princess Gates can't get it to fall. 3-on-1 break for MSOE, and they convert on it. Helena Hill right to the rim. And MSOE ups their lead back to 4.
You know, just as CUC seemed to take control of the momentum rhythm of this game, as MSOE comes in, puts up a quick scoring run, takes it right back.
6-0 run over the last minute 25 for the Raiders. 4 of their last 4. Cougars haven't scored in over 2 minutes now. McGregor to Scott. Scott looking for a pass. Desjardins lobs it inside, and a whistle blown. Violation on the Cougars. Wait on the scores book to see what the actual call is. He's calling a turnover in McGregor. I believe it was a 3-second violation if I'm remembering the signal correctly. Now MSOE has a chance to up their lead even more. Battling inside and gobbled up. Allison McGregor says, "Give me that," and the Cougars moving the other way now. Princess Gates over to Sydney Mitchell. Mitchell drives, hard drive to the rim, underhand scoop. That would have been a pretty highlight. Just cannot get it to fall. Rim being a little tough tonight. As now the Raiders back on offense. Just over a minute left to play here in the first half. Thinking out of 3 was Menson. She decides otherwise. Now here's Hill for 3. No good. Cougars probably happy to see that. Helena Hill, previously 2 for 2 from beyond the arc, finally gets a heat check. And Sydney Mitchell, she's been running point ever since she checked into the game. Ball loose, bobbled around. Scott goes down with Menson. They both are trailing the play. 4-on-4 basketball. As Menson, she gets back in. Raiders feed her. She goes up. She falls again, and now they're going to call a foul on McGregor, saying she tripped up Menson. Inbound coming up for MSOE. McGregor, her first personal foul of the night, team 3rd. As a tough shot and one, an even tougher shot when you're getting fouled in the act of it. Helena Hill does not seem to care, and she gets it to go, and will have a chance to make it a 3-point play.
And that shot right there puts Hill at 10 points on the night, 11 if she can get the free throw here.
She cannot.
She does not, but
good break for CUC, but that's not a good break as the ball goes out off the Cougars. 36 seconds remain in the half as CUC gets 2 subs in. Malia Perry as well as Alexis Desjardins back into the game. Here is Hill. Inside pass. Menson, no good. Off-balance shot. Shot clock is off. 25 seconds to go. Cougars can hold for the last shot if they want, as it looks like they're going to at least waste some of this time. Sydney Mitchell running the clock down. It's at 15 now. Flanagan face guarding Mitchell. Mitchell gets around her. Now Mitchell bounce past to McGregor. McGregor inside and travel called. McGregor thought she got a bucket to go and a foul. Instead, the ref had other ideas, and now MSOE, they got 7 seconds to make something happen. Flanagan, she'll bring it up. Cougars are face guarding. 3 seconds, 2, and Flanagan, she has to get it up. She does in time. It's no good. But the Raiders are not going to be too disappointed with that start. Their star player, Mahima Choksi, out since the opening minutes with foul trouble, and the Raiders still able to take a 31-25 lead into halftime. Coach Martin will have some adjustments to make as her team trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. So we'll see what happens when we come back in roughly 15 minutes on the Cougar Sports Network. CUC trailing MSOE 31-25. We'll be back in just a second.
Centered Lutheran University, where truth, freedom, and vocation form students for lives of influence and service for the common good. Our university offers a wide variety of undergraduate and graduate degree options that are available in person and online. That means we have a program designed for you. Whether you're a high school student, an adult returning to complete your degree, or someone looking to enhance your credentials and prepare for career growth. As a member
I'm a CUC nursing student and choose to stand tall for healing at a university that places Christ at the center and embraces teaching students to live a life fulfilled by purpose and meaning. Concordia University Chicago's new Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree is an innovative and rigorous 4-year program that will prepare you to rise to the daily challenges of a rewarding nursing career and serve a greater cause. Our newly built modern simulation center features 4 distinct spaces: a skills attainment lab, multi-specialty intensive care spaces, a health assessment learning center, and a simulated home environment. Due to our close proximity to many world-class teaching hospitals, CUC's clinical rotations offer an abundance of diverse and real-world experiences. Learn more about earning your BSN at a Christ-centered university today.
Hi, I'm Monica here at Concordia University Chicago, and we're here outside of Concordia Hall. Concordia Hall is the university's newest residence hall, right on the edge of campus, perfect for students who want to explore the nearby downtown of Oak Park and River Forest. The flexible suite-style living in fully furnished bedrooms lets students choose what works best for them. Every floor is complete with a community lounge and full common kitchen, with a kitchenette, microwave, sink, and refrigerator. The first floor offers the Victory Lounge, connecting to 2 additional residence halls, with no shortage of ways to relax. You're also right next to an open, outdoor plaza, better known as Victory Lane.
So now we're here in Concordia Hall's suite-style dorm room, and this is a really nice place to just hang out and chill. And since it's so big, there's plenty of room to spread out and do your homework and just relax. So now making our way into one of the bedrooms, there's plenty of space in this room for you and your roommate. A lot of times students will move the desks so that they've got their separate study space, but my roommate and I, we get along really well, so we can just work together here in the same space. Sometimes I like doing art as well, as you can see by the painting here. It's a 16 by 10 feet space, and most rooms on campus are 10 by 12 feet. So it's really nice to have a little extra space to work with here in Concordia Hall. So this hall is super close to the chapel and the Kennedy Community Center, which has the new Crossroads Dining Hall. So the location is super convenient. And I really love the city scene too. The location here is the closest on campus to the Oak Park River Forest downtown area, which has a ton of great stores and restaurants. Speaking of the city scene, I adore the view from this lounge because you can see the Chicago skyline right there.
Concordia Hall at Concordia University, Chicago.
We appreciate you tuning into today's game.
To stay up to date to all things CUC women's basketball, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at CUCWBall.
We'll see you on campus soon.
Welcome back into Geisman Gymnasium. Peter Borkowski, Jonathan Shear here on the Cougar Sports Network. Your CUC Cougars. They're currently trailing the MSOE Raiders, 31-25. Jonathan, let's break down that first half before we get rolling in the second half here. And really, it's been a great offensive game from the Raiders, despite, their offensive struggles for the year. This is a team who's averaging less than 60 points a game. They're currently on track for 62, but don't let that deceive you. This is a team who's shooting the ball extremely well in all facets.
Yeah, I mean, you look at different parts of it. You have Helena Hill, who averages 10.8 points a game, already up at 14 points today, just in one half, hitting from three, hitting from the paint, they're getting it done across the board for most of their starting lineup, except for an interesting part, Mahima Chokshi, who has been out since 5 minutes into the first quarter after she got in foul trouble. Right, yeah, Chokshi. She is the leading scorer of this MSOE team. She's top 10 in the NAC in points per game. She got 2 fouls in the first about 4.5 minutes. So, like Jonathan said, we haven't seen their top scorer, and they're still putting up 31 points in one half on a Cougars team. And, I mean, going back to those shooting splits, interesting enough, their worst shooting performance tonight is coming from the charity stripe. They're hitting less than 60% of their free throws, and when you're hitting, 50% field goals, around 40% threes, you can kind of get around that. But, Jonathan, let's switch to the Cougars now, and I think it's kind of as we predicted. The Cougars without their top 2 scorers in Reed and Ellis, and they're kind of pulling everybody into the game. We're seeing some freshmen, some younger players, some players who are averaging, less than 5 minutes on the season. They're getting extended playing time early. Amaya Martin, she's averaging 3 minutes on the year. She came in. She had a fantastic stretch of play here for CUC. But, Princess Gates, the leading scorer, with 7 points. But I think the main thing about the Cougars' offense, Jonathan, it's just a little sluggish. And when you're going up against a good defense like the Raiders, a split-second hesitation on a pass or a shot, that's going to land you in trouble. And CUC, they've ran into that in this MSOE defense. Yeah, we've seen that. That MSOE defense runs off of creating turnovers and bad shots. You get the ball, you're going to get double-teamed pretty much straight away is the way it's been going with this Raiders defense so far. And that's going to cause a lost dribble, a forced pass straight to a Raider. It's working for MSOE. The Cougars simply aren't putting up as many shots and aren't making as many shots. And that's creating the difference right now. Like you said, the Cougars, they have to be snappier. It's that confidence with that shot. We saw it from Alexis Desjardins more at the end of the half right there. Get the ball, put it up. Straight away, because you're capable of hitting those shots. All of those players are capable of hitting those shots. It's finding that opportunity and creating that opportunity to do so that's huge for this Cougars team. Well, we're going to be able to see if the Cougars can turn around in less than a minute here. We're about 45 seconds away from the second half kicking off. Cougars, they are trailing this MSOE team 31 points to 25. Jonathan and I still on the call with you on the Cougar Sports Network. See if the Cougars can pull off the comeback, pick up their first win since December 6th. Should be an exciting finish to tonight's game between the Cougars and the Raiders. We'll be back with the second half for you in just a second. Second half has arrived here in Geisman Gymnasium. Peter Borkowski, Jonathan Shear on the Cougar Sports Network as MSOE Raiders. They start the half with possession. They feed Raquel Williams inside. And now going to the rim and getting it to go was number 21, Danny Mendez. MSOE picks up right where they left off. They're up 33-25 as the Cougars get their first possession of the second half. Seeing a bit more of those lineups that we thought we would see from these two teams. Missouri Winga back out for the Cougars. Mahima Chokshi back out for the Raiders. We'll see what impact those two players have. Both of them with little impact on this game so far due to a bit of foul trouble early on. That lob pass to Abby Kulig got blocked by the hand of Raquel Williams. She wasn't even looking at the ball. It hit the back of her arm. And now the Raiders have a chance to build on their 8-point lead here. Levine, inside pass
They've been feeding number 21 a lot as she commits a foul there, a travel call. But Danny Mendez, so far in this game, just 6 points, but Raiders have been feeding her a lot in the paint. Mendez playing at 6 feet tall, immediately makes her one of the tallest players in this game. As stepping her way to the rim was Gage. She takes a fall on Missouri Wingham. Now she loses it on the way up, but it's because of a foul. And CUC has a chance to tack on a couple points here on the charity stripe. Missouri Wingham, her first trip to the line on the year, number 0 for the Cougars, shooting 64% from the free throw line. She tries to get CUC their first points of the second half. First shot is good. Takes a couple lucky bounces on the inside of the rim.
I mean, that last offense possession there for Concordia, you saw a bit of what they're gonna be looking to do in this half. Be confident, put up a bunch of shots, create those shots. Some of them got blocked. Got a foul on one of them. That gave you a point to start off the half there.
Levine, she kicked it off her own foot, able to gather it. Here comes Hill, and why not? Helena Hill having herself a career night from the three-point line. 3 for 4 now. That'll jack her up to 17 points. As Missouri Wingham to Allison McGregor. McGregor trying to back her way to the rim, and she's going to commit the violation. I think the defensive plan for CUC right now is just stop Helena Hill. She's having a remarkable night. She's 7 for 10 from the field, 3 for 4 from the three-point line. She's a big reason that MSOE is up by 9. Kia Williams got it poked away by Desjardins, able to grab it, and now this ball tipped off of McGregor's arm. Here is Chokshi, the leading scorer for MSOE. We haven't seen her since the opening couple minutes of the game. Ball is on the ground. Everybody's on the ground. And eventually a foul called on Allie McGregor of the Cougars, a push. And that'll put Chokshi on the baseline to inbound. Finds Levine. Levine searching for options, finds one in Hill. Hill inside. There's a nice little touch pass to Levine. It's no good. Gathered by Kulig. Now Desjardins off to the races. Almost lost it. She gathers it. Missouri Wingham trying to find Allie McGregor. And Jonathan, those are just passes you cannot make. She had, I think, 2 or 3 bodies in between her and McGregor as Levine scores a bucket there. It causes a timeout. 32nd by Coach Lauren Martin. But you know, I think that's part of the problem we've seen for the Cougars is, you know, you made the point that MSOE's playing great defense. They're clogging the passing lanes. They're throwing arms up. But CUC, at their fault, hasn't really found a way to respond to that. They're still trying to force those passes. That's where I think, you know, 80% of their turnovers is coming from, is forced passes. This is a CUC team. They got to realize when you got 3 bodies in the passing lane, you just cannot make that pass.
And the one thing you're going to have there is you see these double teams, you see these bodies in the passing lane. If that passing lane is open, if someone's there, there's going to be someone open elsewhere on the court. That's what CU needs to do. Look for that new person that's open. It's going to mean going off script. It's going to mean playing outside of what you normally do. But it's what you need to do to beat this MSOE team, because you can't get into a defensive matchup with this team that is shooting incredibly well right now.
Right. Yeah, even if it's, you know, means one extra pass, you know, instead of just going straight from A to B, maybe you need to make a little detour to get it to the paint. CUC just really hasn't found a way to do that tonight, and that's what's causing all of these turnovers. As we wait a second for Princess Gates to tie her shoes up, she does, and now she inbounds it. Cougars moving the other ways. Missouri Wingham, the point guard for CUC right now. She hands it off to Desjardins. Kicked out. Amaya Martin back in the game for CUC. She sets a screen, and it's a moving screen. I think everyone saw that one as Martin side shuffling to keep in front of her defender. Obviously an illegal move, and now that'll give the Raiders a chance to tack on to their double-digit lead. And now violation on the Raiders. It is Mendez getting tagged with it. That will be personal foul. Now number 3 on Mendez. So Raiders got to be careful with Mendez here, Jonathan. 3 fouls, and as we say that, she's checking out of the game. It's 5 fouls and you're done in the game. And Mendez, who's been putting up important minutes, he played in 16 for the Raiders. She's going to have to take a seat on the bench. McGregor inside pass. Amaya Martin, she hits the bottom of the backboard. Now 4 players on the ground, everybody grappling. Like a morphed game of Twister on the ground as everyone's scrambling for the ball.
I mean, you've seen that a lot tonight. It's a bit of a chaotic game. You know, there's a lot of loose balls, lots of swipes, lots of passes that just get broken up and go wild. That one right there, a shot off the bottom of the backboard, which you're not going to see often. That was 4 players on the ground right there scrambling for that ball. Very high-intensity play from both teams so far this half.
I think that high intensity really sums it up. These are 2 teams who are struggling offensively as of late, and so their response is they just got to grit it out. They just got to put some dirty, not dirty in a bad way, but, really get down to the nitty-gritty of the game. If that means throwing yourself on the floor for a jump ball, that's what it means. As MSOE will inbound it here. They got a chance to keep building their lead. CUC struggling to score to start this second half. And a weird layup there for Helena Hill. Probably one of the first bad shots we've seen Hill take tonight. As Missouri Wingham. Princess Gates wide open. 3. She's always going to hit that. Princess Gates gets a timely 3 ball and a just celebration from the bench. Now she goes and commits a foul. Missouri Wingham commits the foul, so she'll check out for Sydney Mitchell.
That's going to take Wingham out of the game again, her 3rd foul of the night, and she's back into foul trouble here in the second half.
Alexis Desjardins matched up against Hill. And baseline jumper for Williams, no good. Desjardins, she's getting tied up by Levine. Desjardins, one of the most physical players out on the court. You're not going to win many one-on-one strength fights against her, especially in the paint. Now she just turns that ball over. A bad shot, Levine, go-ahead pass, and nobody is there. Overthrew the receiver. And CUC catches a break on the turnover. Nicole Levine looking a little too far ahead.
That's actually something we've seen throughout this game. Both teams committing turnovers, neither team really capitalizing on them more than the other. You see, it's been a lot of plays like that where you get a turnover and then it's turned right back over once again.
Leah Perry handled it for a second. Now here's Sydney Mitchell. Princess Gates, another 3, no good, but rebounded, still loose, heading to the CUC bench. And Allison McGregor has to slow up at the risk of taking out some of her assistant coaches. She does so, but CUC loses the ball as an effect. CUC assistant coaches are Gary Butler, Anthony Johnson. Student managers are Sydney Lloyd and Mackenzie Strawlin. As MSOE hands it off to Levine, pulls up from the elbow, no good, swirls out. And the Cougars trying to close this gap even more. They're back in single digits. It's an 8-point deficit. Malia Perry thought about a long 3, wisely pulled back as Princess Gates now. She gets double teamed, kicks it back out to Mitchell. Mitchell goes to the baseline, a long baseline jumper. That is no good. Low percentage shot there for Sydney Mitchell. Coming the other way are the Raiders. Chokshi, she's been extremely quiet due to limited minutes tonight. Still looking for her first points. She gets the handoff from Williams, and a foul is called on Princess Gates. And, Chokshi, that's got to be something that the Cougars are cognizant of, Jonathan. I mentioned to you during halftime is that, this is a player, she's scoring over 13 points, just under 14 points a game. She could go off at any minute here, and when you're already struggling to keep up with the Raiders' offense without Chokshi, the threat of her just suddenly turning it on and pouring in double-digit points, that's got to be a really scary thought for Coach Martin and the rest of her team. As Chokshi desperately trying to find some space, she instead lets Hill do the work, and Hill, she can't get that layup to fall. She's cooling off a little bit in the second half, has missed some close shots. Sydney Mitchell now trying to get a screen. She does from McGregor. McGregor rolls. Mitchell tries to hit her, goes out of bounds, and knocked out by Flanagan.
And Cougars lucky to hang on to the ball right there. That's another one of those plays into the post that just isn't working for the Cougars right now.
The passing's just been a little off tonight in all categories for CUC as Malia Perry, top of the key, three, no good off the front of the rim. Allison McGregor cleans up the rebound, though. And that's going to cause a timeout by Coach Hannah Trees of the Raiders. And it will be a full timeout for the Raiders as they seen their, at one point, double-digit lead shrink down to 6 points, 38-32 in favor of MSOE. 4:06 to go in the third quarter. We're going to take a break here on the Cougar Sports Network. Don't go anywhere, though. We'll be back in just a second. Reminder to all Cougar fans out there that you can find more information about CUC Athletics on our athletics page, cucougars.com. That includes stats, schedules, rosters, and more for every team on Concordia University Chicago's campus, like the women's basketball team. Once again, all you got to do is go to cucougars.com. But back to the game, Jonathan, something that we're talking about during the break is even though the rebound game is about even, Cougars lead at 23-22. The second chance points is one of the big discrepancies we've seen in the stat book tonight.
Yeah, Allie McGregor getting the second chance bucket right there. That puts CUC up to 10 second chance points on the night. That's an area where MSOE only has 2 second chance points all game long.
Maybe a key to getting really back into this one for the CC. Not that they're out of it, but if they can keep getting some close rebounds by the likes of Allie McGregor or even Abby Kulig, who, again, another one of the tall players on the CUC roster, if they can start putting those back, getting those putback points, that's a way to close into this game, especially when you're struggling to shoot the ball like CUC is, only shooting 32% from the field. Allie McGregor thought about a three. She decides to kick it to the corner, and another turnover off the pass. Rakia Williams expertly reading it. She's all by herself at the free throw line. Instead, she passes up. She passes up another open shot. That was from three. Williams deciding to distribute it, and going up and drawing the foul was Flanagan. She'll head to the free throw line. Foul on number 55, Sydney Mitchell.
That was a bit of an interesting sort of chain of passing right there from SOE. You had Williams passing up 2 open shots. You had a whole rainbow right along the three-point line where no one really chose to put up the open shot. Ended with Flanagan headed towards the rim, getting the foul, which is going to turn into points here. But, you know, you've seen CUC sometimes be a bit too hesitant to put up those shots split second. That's something that really MSOE hasn't had to struggle with because they've been hitting shots super well, but now that they're sort of falling into a drought too, that could come up to be an issue for them going forwards here.
Yeah, Williams, like Jonathan said, interestingly passed up 2 good shots on that last possession, so CUC might choose to lay up a little bit on number 23. She's averaging just 7.5 points in her 30 minutes a night. And Malia Perry, she'll pull up from 3. No good. Ball is still loose, and MSOE able to collapse in on it. Here comes Chokshi. Still looking for her first points of the night. Cougars have done a good job shutting her down when she's on the court, and now a foul on Kulig. She bumped into Menson when Menson was taking the shot, so Menson will head to the free throw line now. Ella Menson Her first trip to the free throw line, and she misses the first one.
Yeah, you mentioned it during the half. An area that the Raiders just have not been doing that well at is shooting from the charity stripe. They're shooting just over 50% from the free throw line so far tonight. That's not a number that you want to have on your box score, because those are a lot of free points that you're just passing up. You have a big 8-point lead, could be bigger, and if this game gets any closer, you're going to want those points back.
6 for 11 from the free throw line. So those are 5 free points essentially left on the board. That could make this a 13-point lead. Instead, it sits at 8, 40-32. 2.5 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Allie McGregor Cougars working it around the perimeter. Not much noise inside for CUC. Now they send a couple bodies through. Floater from Mitchell, no good, but she does draw the foul.
That was pretty much a replay of the exact play you had on the other side.
Flanagan with the foul, and Mitchell, she will take her her second trip to the free throw line. 2 for 2 on her last go around. 4 points on the night for the sophomore out of Aurora. First free throw is good, right off the back of the rim. That sweet spot. She has a chance to close this lead down even further. CUC shooting really well from the free throw line, and that continues. A perfect 6 for 6 on the night. 4 of those have come from Sydney Mitchell, as Flanagan now goes to work on Mitchell. As here is Pearl. Pearl to Williams. That hit looked like off her face. I think she got some hands in front of it, luckily for her own sake, but it does turn into a turnover. Malia Perry now to inbound. She finds Mitchell, who is getting guarded closely by Flanagan. We've seen these two go at it tonight, as now we get a stoppage. And CUC will have to bring it back. A little unclear on what caused the whistle. No harm to CUC, however, as they maintain possession. Sydney Mitchell again brings it up. She finds Princess Gates. Gates. Maya Martin now. Stutter step. A little bunny hop, but it's going to be illegal. Travel on Martin. Picked up her dribble and then decided to step towards the rim. Definition of a travel, and because of it, MSOE. It's a free possession here. 1:38 to go on the clock. Pearl. Over to Menson. Menson now. Flanagan uses Menson as a screen. Foul called. And that'll result in free throws for MSOE. It is on Amaya Martin. Cougars now at 5 fouls, so MSOE in the bonus for the remaining minute 27 of the quarter, and Flanagan cannot hit the first one. Flanagan 1 for 2 on her previous trip to the line. Can do that again here, as she does. 2 for 4 on the night for Flanagan, as we get some subs in for both squads. And someone to watch for CUC, Jonathan. Alexis Desjardins checking back into the game. Really the only player consistently hitting threes for the Cougars. See if Coach Lauren Martin decides to ring up her number here, down by 7 with just over a minute to go in the third. Mitchell uses a screen by McGregor. Didn't do much to slow down Levine, who fought over the top. Now Mitchell pulls up and no good. Bad bounce off the front of the rim. MSOE can continue building their lead. Less than a minute to play here in the third.
MSOE haven't hit a field goal in more than 6 minutes. Chokshi looking to end that.
As ball bobbles around, travel called on Menson. Big break there for CUC. 48.5 seconds to go here in the third. About an 18-second difference between the game clock and shot clock. CUC, they're looking for their first field goal in over 3 minutes. Desjardins picks up her dribble. Malia Perry puts it on the ground. Malia Perry glides to the rim. No good, however. Nice move to get there, just cannot finish. Chokshi all the way over. Pearl passes open, a wide open three. Now here's Menson. She passes up a three as well. Allie McGregor was ready to close out on her. Shot clock is off. 10 seconds to go here in the third. Chokshi uses Menson as a screen. Chokshi for her first point. She can't find it. CUC, they got 3 seconds to do something. Alexis Desjardins heaves it down. No good. Hit the backboard. Would have been an impressive end, but not meant to be, as the Cougars, they got some work to do in the final 10 minutes of regulation. They trail MSOE 41-34. And we're going to take a break here, catch our breath on the Cougar Sports Network, and when we come back, the final 10 minutes of regulation, CUC down by 7 here in Geisman Gymnasium, looking to snap a 3-game losing streak, see if they can do it when we're back on the Cougar Sports Network in just a second. Back here on the Cougar Sports Network, CUC, they trail by 7 with 10 minutes to go here in regulation, trying to pull out a come-from-behind win against the Milwaukee School of Engineering Raiders. And, Jonathan, we kind of saw a dry spell for both those teams at the end of the quarter. Raiders, they hadn't hit a field goal in their last 8 minutes of play. That was the vast majority of that quarter. Meanwhile, the Cougars, they were 1 for their last 8. Somebody's got to be able to turn the page here if either MSOE wants to pull away in this game or the Cougars want to come back. Williams, she gets tied up, lofts it up. Luckily, there's Hill. Hill now almost steps out of bounds. Williams, 2 seconds, 1 on the shot clock. It won't matter. Travel on Raquel Williams. And now the Cougars, with 9:30 to go, have to hit a couple of shots in a row here, something they haven't really been able to do all night. A long three for Desjardins, no good, almost pulled it off from Steph Curry range. Instead, the Cougars will have to wait for their first points of the quarter. Kale Williams dribbling, Levine off the screen, shot is up and no good. Rebound, Sydney Mitchell. Long ahead pass, Princess Gates, easy layup, easiest points in Princess Gates' career likely. Beautiful pass there to her. And CUC, they're back within 5.
That ends CUC's scoring drought. MSOE still on a field goal drought themselves.
Foul on Desjardins. Yeah, interesting, finish to the quarter for MSOE. I mean, they weren't able to score a field goal for 8 minutes of the quarter, but on the other hand, they were getting to the free throw line, which was, why they were able to build up their lead a little bit. As Hill tries to end the field goal list drought, she can't. Rebound by Mendez and 1 called. Mendez, she got herself into foul trouble in that third quarter, had to be taken out. And now she'll have a chance to make up for lost time with a 3-point play here. Shot is up and no good. Long rebound. It's grabbed by Pearl. Players swarm the ball. Ball is loose. There's Princess Gates and Desjardins knocked down. Foul called on Pearl.
And that's a One where CUC had a fast break opportunity, kind of got a double back now and set up a more slow, created play after the early foul from MSOE right there.
Yeah, that's one of those fouls where if you're Coach Hannah Trees of MSOE, you're not terribly mad about because, like you said, Jonathan, it stopped what was a breakaway for CUC. Princess Gates for three, no good. Ball is loose, and a foul called on the rebound. Allison McGregor drawing it. Foul committed by Levine. 8:18 to go here. Desjardins finds Mitchell. Mitchell uses a McGregor screen, feeds McGregor, and a jump ball called. Mendez got hands on it. Possession going the way of the Cougar, however. And now a switch here. Missouri Wingham checks in. Sydney Mitchell will check out. We've seen those two players really be interchangeable tonight for Coach Lauren Martin, both of them running point for their team. As the Cougars find Wingham. Wingham coming off an 11-point effort in that Benedictine loss on Saturday. Now she takes the handoff from Gates, uses a Desjardins screen, and foul called on the Raiders as it was Williams running through the Desjardins screen. Desjardins doing a good job of just keeping her feet set.
Wingham, fairly quiet night so far. Hasn't had too many opportunities to make some noise.
And now a travel called on Princess Gates as she looks a little confused on the call. Referee made it, however, so CUC will have to wait to try and close this deficit. Meanwhile, MSOE trying to find some much-needed insurance points as we close in on the final minutes of the game. 7:50 to go in regulation. Williams, a little hook shot there, no good. As Missouri Wingham hits Princess Gates in the corner. Baseline drive, floater, no good. There's Allison McGregor. She goes up and gets fouled. Allison McGregor doing a good job on the boards tonight. So far, that should be rebound at number 15 for number 30. And she's also able to get a couple free throws out of it. Her first free throw is no good. McGregor, that was her first charity stripe shot of the night.
Mendez is back on the bench for the Raiders. She's at 4 fouls on the night now.
And that one isn't good either. Alexis Desjardins tried to make everything all right, but missed a layup. Here are the Raiders now. They're playing with some speed, and Hill pulls it out. They find Mendez. Mendez up, no good. Rebound by herself. Now she ties up with McGregor. And foul. It's a turnover, excuse me. I believe they're saying the ball went out on Mendez. Now she takes a seat on the bench. 7:17 to go in the quarter. Desjardins to it, Missouri Wingham. Wingham running point whenever she's in the game. Whenever she's not, it's usually Sydney Mitchell. Cougars find Princess Gates. Hard drive to the rim. Puts it up. No good. A weird-looking shot. Almost got it to fall. And now whistles blow. Foul on Gates. That'll be a second on Princess Gates. Both these teams still struggling to score out of the gate. Cougars 0 for 4 in terms of their last 4 field goal attempts. As Hill finds Levine, uses a Williams screen. Levine cuts to the rim, and a foul on the floor. Missouri Wingham tagged with it. And that'll force a 30-second timeout by Coach Lauren Martin. And Missouri Wingham now with 4 fouls on the night. She's got to be careful. One more and she's done with 6:47 reading on the clock. And Jonathan, I think this is the game we expected to see. I think we were a little surprised by the first half just by how efficient both teams were. It wasn't extraordinarily high scoring, but both teams were just efficient, hitting shots, whatever it may be. Now CUC and MSOE both are really struggling in terms of their field goal percentages. CUC down to 28, MSOE at 41, and they're just kind of trying to slug it out right now. CUC, though, that's really going to be the main hindrance to their comeback, is they need to put together a string of buckets, and even when they're scoring, it's usually when they're trading blows with the Raiders.
Yep.
They haven't found that big point streak yet to really get back and potentially tie this game.
Yeah, because this is the kind of game that the Raiders are okay with playing.
As Hill, open layup. Princess Gates, Missouri Wingham, Cougars down by 9. They feed McGregor inside. Foul on the floor. It is on number 22, Menson. That is MSOE's 5th, so McGregor goes to the line. Cougars in the bonus. Is McGregor's first shot no good. She's 0 for 3 now on the night from the charity stripe. Second attempt, also no good. McGregor's left 4 points up on the board as MSOE playing with some speed. Here comes Hill through some contact. No good on the basket, but gets a foul, so she'll have a chance to still put up 2 points.
Hill kind of leading the offensive effort for the Raiders tonight in place of Mahima Chokshi, putting up 19 so far, headed to the line now. And that's going to make it 20 for Hill, who's had a massive night out there for MSOE.
Lena Hill, freshman out of Chandler, Arizona. And with her point total here tonight, she has broken her season and thus career high. 21 points tonight. Her previous high was set back against Monmouth on the 30th of December. So career night for Helena Hill, and like Jonathan said, in the absence of Chomsky, Hill is just really taking the reins of this offense. Now Princess Gates, top of the key, 3, airballs it. And CUC, we're getting to the point, Jonathan, where those threes are going to need to be a little bit more regular. I mean, you're down by 11, 6 minutes to go in regulation. You can't really settle for twos anymore. You got to start hitting threes, get that extra point out of possessions. Hill pulls up, no good. CUC grabs the board. Sydney Mitchell gets it to Missouri Wingham. Missouri Wingham bunny hops and nutmegs Allie McGregor. And now MSOE, a second straight possession gifted by an out-of-bounds ball. Here's Hill. Menson to Williams. Williams back over to Hill from the corner. No good, off the rim. And Abby Kulig saved it from going out. Cougars, they need to get some offense going here. 5:11 to go in regulation. McGregor through the defense. No good. Cannot hit the layup. And missed shots continue to be a problem for the Cougars. 0 for their last 6 in field goals. Over 3.5 minutes without a point. Williams grabs a board, goes up, and draws a foul for 2 shots. So she has a chance to build on the 6-0 run MSOE's got over the last 3:35.
And that's going to be number 5 on Missouri Wingham, it looks like. And that's going to end her night.
And now a timeout here by Coach Trees of MSOE. So as Jonathan said, Missouri Wingham officially fouls out. 2 points on the night for one of CUC's starters. She ended up playing 11 minutes, just could not stay out of foul trouble ever since entering the game. They really had trouble keeping it clean. And so the Cougars, they'll have to attempt this comeback now without one of their senior leaders.
And I mean, this fourth quarter sort of told the story of the game, which is CUC just struggling to get that offensive production. They're not creating too many great shots, and when they do, they're not hitting those shots, and that's what it's come down to. MSOE is hitting their shots. They hit their shots early on enough. CUC just hasn't been able to hit enough shots to keep pace with this MSOE team. They went down early and really haven't been able to establish coming back into this game.
Yeah, CUC in the second half shooting 6 for 17. That is 35%, but shot is up and no good. 4:49 to go. Williams trying to build this lead up, and she does. Another point on the night, 48-36.
And this is when you're going to need that offense to sort of up the intensity and up the pace for CUC. You're down 12. You got to start getting points up.
And that'll do it. Sydney Mitchell, a circus shot as she was heading out of bounds. Just kind of lofted it up. She gets the Cougars back within 10. And now Cougars a full court press, and Flanagan throws it out of bounds. So CUC ups the ante on the pressure, and now they get a turnover, have a chance to cut the lead down even more.
And you've seen that since they went down by double digits earlier here in the fourth quarter. Start upping the intensity of the press. Worked masterfully right there, forcing Flanagan to just try and do something with it as she ran out of time.
Sydney Mitchell uses Kulig as a screen. Dribbles through the defense. Another tough shot. No good this time as players get wrapped up. Jump ball. Possession will go the way of MSOE. So Sydney Mitchell trying to follow up her tough shot with another one. Can't get it to go. Now MSOE can continue to build their lead. Might also see them, Jonathan, use a little bit more clock here. We got just about 4 minutes to play as Chokshi uses a great screen by Menson, completely caught Sydney Lloyd. Flanagan to Williams. Williams, that ball picked off by Abby Kulig. Now it's picked off by Flanagan. MSOE to Chomsky. Her basket, no good. Chomsky having an uncharacteristic night for the Raiders. Still with 0 points. And now another jump ball. This time it'll go the way of CUC. Chokshi just absolutely silenced tonight. She's had foul trouble early, and ever since then, just 0 for 2 in terms of her field goals. Princess Gates, and one! Woo. Tough shot there by number 10 in gold. Able to get it off the board to go. And she has a chance for a big play here for CUC. If she can complete this free throw, she will bring it within a 7-point deficit. Princess Gates. Her free throw no good, so the point deficit stays at 8. Ball out of bounds off of Allie McGregor's hands. That was
Princess Gates up to 14 points on the night so far. On a night where you have your 2 leading scorers out, you're going to be looking for alternative means of production. You don't really expect it to come from a player who's averaging 3.8 on the night, but it's thanks to Princess Gates. CUC has remained within touching distance of this MSOE team.
Flanagan trying to put this one away. And rolling over Kulig for the foul is Mendez. And Mendez now will foul out. That is her 5th personal foul, so number 21 in red is done. As Abby Kulig a little slow to get up, getting some hands from her teammates. As she looks to remain in the game. A tough fought battle by Abby Kulig, taking a hard charge too. Again, Danny Mendez standing at 6 feet tall.
You got an 8-point deficit, just over 3 minutes to go here for the Cougars.
Mitchell using a McGregor screen to Princess Gates. Gates has had the hot hand tonight for CUC. Malia Perry uses the McGregor screen. She pulls up long too. Net's good. Nothing but net for Malia Perry. And CUC continues to close the gap, 48-42. MSOE trying to break this press. They had Menson wide open under the basket. They choose not to go for it. They're going to waste some clock. Chalkschi. Here's Williams. Levine beats the closeout to the rim. Blocked by Abby Kulig. No soup for you. Emphatic block by number 31. MSOE retains possession. But that might be a defensive spark the Cougars can use to get back in this one. As Kulig pokes it away. Kulig turning up the intensity here. MSOE just 7 seconds left on the shot clock.
So CUC on a quick little 6-0 run right here. They've got to keep this momentum. They've struggled to start a run and then keep it earlier in this game. This is a big possession right here as that one goes out of bounds again.
Levine was stripped out of it, stripped of the ball as she went to the rim. So 1 second remains on the shot clock. MSOE basically has to hot potato it into the basket if they want any shot. CUC just cannot foul here. And that is no good, not before the shot clock went off. So CUC, a great defensive possession. As Helena Hill got that ball, just could not get it up in time. Also at the bottom of the board, so would not count anyways. As here come the Cougars, 6-point deficit. Sydney Mitchell for three, no good. It looked like a good shot. It just took an unfavorable roll around the rim, and a foul caught on Princess Gates. That'll mean free throws for Helena Hill.
That is a good shot right there from Sydney Mitchell. That's the shot you want to take, that spot three from right at the top of the key. And that's one that, you know, you're still 6 points down, 2 minutes. Plenty of time to get back in this game, but that one does kind of hurt a bit. That three would have been a game changer.
Cougars, they call a 30-second timeout. We'll keep it here on the Cougar Sports Network. These two teams are not the only MSOE CUC basketball teams going at it tonight. The men's teams battling up in Milwaukee, and that game has ended. The Raiders downing the Cougars 86-75. A tough-fought battle from both teams, but the Cougars men's team is not able to pull off a comeback. They were trailing at half by 8 points and came all the way, tied it at 1 point. And MSOE eventually pulling away in the final couple minutes of regulation. But we got a tight finish here in the women's game at CUC, 48-42, 2:13 to go. But 2 free throws coming up for Helena Hill. A career night, 21 points. She can add on to it here at the charity stripe. Helena Hill so far tonight on the free throw line, 2 for 3. She's actually made more 3-point field goals than she has free throws. You can believe that statistic. As she's now 2 for 4, has a chance to make it 3 for 5. Shot is up, and it is no good. Cougars catch a break there. 0 for 2 trip by Helena Hill. CUC down by 6. 2 minutes to go in regulation. Mitchell maneuvers around the Kulig screen. Kulig. And that's picked off. A bad pass by Kulig. Here comes Chomsky, and it's good. Chomsky, a pivotal basket there. A great pickoff of the Abby Kulig pass. As Sydney Mitchell now maneuvers around the defense, almost turns it over. Princess Gates makes the most of it, however. And she'll take a couple free throws. Foul on number 22. That is Ella Menson, her second on the night.
And you've mentioned it. That's kind of a play you've got to see when you're down in the paint. That's a triple team right there on Gates with a bad situation. Ball's down low. Go up with it. Who knows what's going to happen right there. She gets the foul, hits the first free throw, starts to close that gap again here as we're under 2 minutes.
She does exactly that. Makes both free throws, 50-44. Levine. Chokshi Cougars might have to start fouling here. Down by 6, 1:36 to go in regulation. They aren't yet. As Chokshi, that pass almost picked off. Here's Princess Gates on Chokshi. Levine goes up against McGregor. Here's Menson back inside to Williams. Williams up and good and one.
And Williams just been an and one machine so far tonight. That picked up quite a few of those so far in this game. That's a very big one late here with 1:18 left. Good. Hitting the free throw would be big, make it a 9-point game for the Raiders here, but it's something that this Raiders team as a whole has struggled at, and we're going to see that come into play at the end of the game here. 7
points on the night for Rakia Williams as her shot is up and good. Rakia Williams makes it a 9-point game, as Jonathan pointed out she could. And now the Cougars, they need to start hitting some threes. They give it to who else? Alexis Desjardins. Excuse me, Steph Curry, I meant to say, as that was a long-range three. That gives the Cougars some life. 6-point game with a minute to go. Menson to Chokshi. She's going to wind this clock down. The Cougars are not fouling yet. As here comes Malia Perry. Sydney Mitchell. And the ball is loose and down. Foul caught on Desjardins. Desjardins' second. You figure the Cougars are going to be feeding her a lot. As, again, she's been the team's best three-point shooter all year long. Tonight, she's 3 for 5. And
it sends Levine to the line for the first time tonight.
Shot is no good.
This is kind of when you're going to see that come into play. You struggle to hit your free throws. You might make that end of the game a lot spicier than it would have if you just can't put it away.
She doesn't. Levine misses that free throw, too. 53-47, 6-point game. McGregor, Cougars need a three to get back in this one fully. Malia Perry to Desjardins. Who else? Desjardins. She has to put it up. Malia Perry for three. The shot is good! And it is a one-possession game with 28 seconds to go. Cougars are finding the hot sauce at the right time. Back-to-back threes by Alexis Desjardins and Malia Perry. As there seems to be some confusion about who I think called the timeout. It's a full timeout. Coach Trees of MSOE was asking for who called, what the timeout length was. 30 seconds or a full. It is a full.
So at that point, under 30 seconds, shot clock's off. Probably going to see CUC move towards fouling here as that clock goes down. MSOE only up by 3 points. And like we mentioned, you miss your free throws, you can't put the game away. And that has just breathed life in this Cougars team that has heated up right when they need to at the end of the game. Multiple different players hitting shots and hitting some tough threes that have brought this game to the shortest gap it's been at since the second quarter.
And it's a really interesting discussion that Coach Martin's having with her team right now. Like you said, Jonathan, the shot clock is off. 28 seconds remain in regulation. MSOE could hold this until the end of the game. So you got to wonder, you know, how long of this possession is Coach Martin just wanting her team to press like there is no tomorrow, just force a turnover, whatever it may be, and how quickly is she wanting her team to say, all right, we got to foul them, we got to force free throws to get a change of possession. So it's going to be an interesting strategy here to see coming out of the full timeout for Coach Martin and her squad. You have to think that if MSOE is content, as I believe we have another timeout here. We do. Coach Trees wanting to figure it out on her side of the thing. Another full timeout, so gets the players quite a breather as well. But I think what we're going to see, Jonathan, is if MSOE goes out there, they're passing the ball, they're moving, they're, you know, acting like it's a regular possession. CUC's just going to play some tough defense. They're just going to try and force that turnover. They're going to get hands out, get some tip balls. But if MSOE just gives them a player and says, hey, stand off in the corner, that's when CUC's going to foul because they need that change of possession. Yep. So we'll have to see as this is really a coach's game now. Of course, it's going to come down to execution, but we've had back-to-back minute-long timeouts for Coach Martin and Coach Treese to talk things over with their team.
Yeah, and on that MSOE side, you have to be aware that CUC will likely be willing to foul in this last 28 seconds here. So you start looking, who do you want taking those shots? On the season as a whole, Mahima Chokshi's been pretty good from the line. Nina Pearl been very good from the line. Danny Mendez, one of your best free throw shooters, fouled out of the game. You can't put her out there, but, I mean, on general, on the night, none of your players are really doing too hot from the free throw line. The only one hitting more than 50% is Rakia Williams.
Right, yeah, 47.8% as a team, if you want to be exact, 11 for 23. So Coach Martin does have that going in her favor as well. As if you do foul, I mean, you know, playing the numbers game, there's a less than 50% chance that they're going to make that foul if that trend continues. But here we go, 28 seconds. Cougars down by 3, 53-50. They inbound it to Hill. Hill to the rim. It's good and fouled.
And that's the play that MSOE will take, just getting that gap to get Helena Hill open, and then you'll take a foul on this shot any day to put up an extra point.
That's probably worst case scenario right there for the Cougars was, you know, fouling on a shot that, of course, goes in. Not that you're counting on a fouled shot to go in, but Helena Hill can make this a 6-point game again. Her shot is up and good. She does. 25.5 seconds. Cougars, they need another 3 here just to get back within 1 possession. Sydney Mitchell. Cougars need it quick. She finds Malia Perry. Perry, she's just going to go to the rim. She gets it to go. 4-point game. And the Cougars, they foul quickly here. 15.4 seconds left.
We're going to see Chokshi at the line for the first time tonight on the season. She's been shooting 64.7% from the free throw line. Hasn't had a shot from there tonight, but one of the better shooters from that line on this team over on the season as a whole.
She can make it a 6-point game again. She makes it a 5-point game. (57-52). MSOE is just putting off the other 4 players back as she sinks both of them. Could be the dagger MSOE needed. 58-52. Sydney Mitchell to Malia Perry. Cougars, they got to get a shot up. They are running against the clock. They do. Perry gets it to go again. I don't know if a 2-pointer is going to be enough, though. Cougars are trying to foul. They do finally with 1.8 left. And that might just do it, as CUC basically needs 2 missed free throws, a 3-pointer, and a foul on a made 3-pointer when you only have 1.8 seconds to get from one end of the court to the other. Chokshi's shot is good, and it's back to a 2-possession game. It was already realistically a 2-possession game, but again, there is the ultra-rare 4-point play. Now it's a 5-point game. Make that a 6-point game. CUC needs to pull some theatrics off, and they won't be able to. A last-second heave is no good by Desjardins, and MSOE, they escape Geisman by the skin of their teeth, 60-57, but the Cougars made it as close as a 3-point game with less than a minute to go, less than 30 seconds to go, actually. What an exciting finish from inside Geisman Gymnasium, even if it doesn't go the way of the home team. As we check some of the final totals from tonight, the star of the game offensively, Helena Hill. What a game she had. 24 points, 3 for 5 from three-point land, 9 for 17 as a whole. The freshman impressing in her new career best in points. The point leader for CUC, however, will end up being Princess Gates, the only player in double digits. She had 16 on the night, including a pair of threes, and 6 for 16 in her 34 minutes of action. Allie McGregor, the big rebounder of the day, 18 boards grabbed. The only player on MSOE who came even close to that was Rakia Williams with her 8. Also had Flanagan on MSOE, 4 assists, their main dish person of the night, while Sydney Mitchell, she had a great game. Assist-wise, she had 6, but unfortunately that, and, you know, Princess Gates 16, Allie McGregor's 18 rebound, just not enough to do it for the Cougars as they fought MSOE. Jonathan, before we wrap things up here, let's get your final thoughts on the night. With just obviously a tough loss for the Cougars, but I mean, this is a team, they've lost 4 games in a row now. They're looking still for their first win in well over a month. I mean, what exactly does the team go from here? What do they need to really focus on before they head into their next game this Saturday?
I think obviously the main thing you struggle with here, the thing you're going to want to work on before Saturday is more consistent shooting. Very, very, very streaky tonight. Got hot right at the end, but it was too little too late. In other regards, going forwards, you're going to be looking for some new avenues to score. A really interesting one that comes out of tonight is Princess Gates. Like we mentioned, averaging 3.8 points per game coming into tonight. Puts up a big 16 for this Cougars team. That's a player that you're going to want to watch, especially as you're going to look to new ways to score. I mean, you had Missouri Wiggum have a rough night tonight, lots of fouls, not too much production there. So that's really the story of the game for CUC. Get consistent production from more of your players and, take advantage of those avenues that present themselves, like Princess Gates had a breakout game tonight. Find a way to keep that moving on into Saturday.
That's right. The Cougars, they are back at it this Saturday. They take a trip to St. Norbert College up in De Pere, Wisconsin, right around the Green Bay area. They'll take on the Green Knights at 2 p.m. Coverage for that game can, of course, be found at our website, CUCougars.com. Cougars, they're not back at home until January 20th. That is next Saturday. It is Jersey night as they take on Marian University at 4 p.m. So if you're in the CUC area and looking forward to the next women's basketball game at home, you're going to have to wait about 10 days or so before they get back at it. But they'll be back in gameplay this Saturday, again, 2 p.m. at St. Norbert College. But before we sign off here tonight on the Cougar Sports Network, I want to thank everyone making this production possible. Our stats spotter of the night, Dave Dimeling, working scoreboard. Wyatt McLaughlin on our camera is Eric Perry and Tyler Dorsch. Our producers for the night, Ashley Schroll and Jessica Gang. Photos done by Sebastian Miller. Jonathan Shear joining me all night long on the Cougar Sports Network broadcast. But this is Peter Borkowski signing off of the Cougar Sports Network. One more time, CUC falls to MSOE 60-54. Back at it 2 p.m. Saturday at St. Norbert College. But until next time, I'm signing off of the Cougar Sports Network and wanting to say, as always, go Cougars.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.